Good morning, Facebook. Here today we're looking at Psalms chapter 56, looking at verses 1 through 3. And you see in this psalm, you see King David. Once again, he's on the run from King Saul. You see King Saul has once again come to the realization that David is the one who's going to one day inherit his throne. David is the one who's going to gain the status as king over all of Israel. And you see when King Saul once again realizes this, comes to that conclusion, you see he once again wants to take an attempt at David's life. But you see David's response here in verses 1 through 2. You see David's response to this attempt on his life. You see David gives in to the fear. Where he once trusted in God, where he once looked to God no matter the outcome, no matter how many people were against him, and no matter how hard and difficult the terrain or the situation was that laid ahead of him. You see, so many times when David was in this situation, he was quick to look to God. But you see here in Psalm 56, you see David, what David does, he runs away. He gets in his feelings, he looks to his fear, he looks at his own ability, he looks to his own strength to see what he can do to try to find a solution. And you see David found a solution in his own strength, and that was to run away, to run out of Israel, to run to where King Saul's hand could not reach him, deep into Philistine territory, into enemy territory. And you see that worked for a little while because he realized Saul had no reach there. But then you see one day the Philistines remember and they recognize who David is. So you see they capture him, and then that picks up where he is here. You see David has come to realize in verses 1 through 2 as he's praying, he's got his hands lifted up to heaven. He's saying, "Oh God, be merciful to me." You see David realizes he made that wrong choice. David realizes he trusted in himself. He trusted in his own ability. He trusted in his own strength. He trusted in what he thought he could do instead of what God has already done multiple times. And he did not think that God could once again do it. But you see here in verse 3, you see how things change. Despite what David's done, despite the path that David chose, he's saying, I trust in God. He's my comfort. Despite the pain, despite the sorrow, despite how I put myself in this mess, you see how he's my comfort. He's my source of joy. And I'll look to him because I know he's the only one who can handle this situation. He's the only one that can change it. But us as Christians today, as we start our day, can we put on that very same mindset as David? No matter the struggle we're in, no matter how many bad choices we've made, no matter how rough yesterday was, can we make God our comfort? That no matter where we are today, that we can look to God knowing that he can not only change our situations, but he can make it for the better. He can instill and restore that joy in our hearts.